Welcome to the Humane Society of Durham Region Foster Orientation. My name is Sydney Rutherford. I'm a shelter service agent and foster coordinator. Our shelter was founded in 1988. We're made up of a volunteer board of directors, staff, and volunteers that help abandoned, neglected, and abused animals in Durham Region. Some of the programs we provide are our foster program, our kitten foster program, food bank, offsite adoption, and our volunteer program. The animals come into our shelter by an intake process, then they're treated, and if they need foster, they go to that, and then once the foster is complete, they are adopted out. At HSDR, we have the capacity to care for roughly 89 animals, 65 cats, 14 dogs, and 10 special species. Once the animals complete their foster duration, they come back in the shelter, and once they have an interested adopter, the adopter fills a questionnaire, interview, and does a meet and greet. We want to make sure all adoptions are successful and every animal finds their forever home, so that's why we do have this whole lengthy process to make sure it's the best fit for both. The newsletters also incorporate different events and different shelter changes that are going on so that you are staying informed with HSDR. Our euthanasia policy here at HSDR is less than 5%. We are a no-kill shelter. The only time we euthanize here is if there's the quality of life has diminished and there's nothing we can do further or another vet clinic to help save the animal. We will try everything possible and use all the resources we have to try and help save the animal, or we will reach out to other resources as well. We have 4 different levels of fostering: immature, behavioral, medical, or palliative. You may become one of these fosters, or you may become all 4 of these fosters, or a variety of one of these fosters. Once you complete the onboarding process and become an official foster parent with HSDR, we put you on our emailing and foster database. That way we can call you or we can email you in regards to a foster animal that is needing a foster home. It will always differ depending on what the animal needs, but we will specify that in the email or a phone call. We will make sure we go over everything that is needed and required before you come in, and we will set up a date and time for you to come pick the animal up and any supplies that will go home with the animal, as we do cover all the supplies and all the medical appointments here at HSDR. Once the animal has gone into the foster home, we do like to check in within the next few days just to see how they are doing and how they are adjusting. You're more than welcome to also check in with us by sending us an email or giving us a quick phone call. Just letting us know that they're doing well is always greatly appreciated. What we need from you as a foster parent is to provide a safe and comfortable home and environment for your foster animal. We require regular communication with us, especially when you have any concerns. Sometimes we may be checking in with you a little more frequently if the animal you are fostering has a medical concern that may need more attention than others. We ask that all foster parents respond to any communication from our staff members here within 24 hours. It will also be the responsibility of the foster parent to take the animal to all necessary veterinarian appointments as prescribed by the Humane Society. We do have a very busy clinic here, and we do require 48 hours notice of cancellation of any appointment. Our requirement as a foster parent with us here at the Humane Society of Durham Region is to please keep your foster animals separate from your own animals. This way you are reducing the risk of spreading any infectious diseases. We always ask to please follow staff direction, and just to let you know that any items that you purchase for the animal you are fostering will be at your sole discretion and will not be reimbursed unless you are given prior consent by the Humane Society of Durham Region. Remember to please return all supplies once your foster period has ended, as we will definitely reuse these with our other foster animals. When becoming a kitten foster parent, it can be super exciting, but it can also be a lot of work. That is why we want to help you succeed, and we want to help the animals thrive in their foster home. First things first, you want to set up an ideal living space for the foster kittens or kitten to roam. The living space should have their food and water dishes, a litter box or multiple litter boxes, bedding and toys for stimulation. Things to monitor daily for are their food and water intake, regular and appropriate urination and defecation, weight of the kittens, a sign of any illness, the kitten's behavior, and socialization. For safety matters, you want to remove anything that could potentially be dangerous or harmful to the kittens, as kittens can be very curious by nature and very playful. It's best to keep the living space clean as possible, and once the fostering has been completed, to thoroughly clean the foster room. We can supply pet-friendly cleaning supplies for you to use. Some of the kittens you may foster may be without a mother or may be too small to eat on their own. If this is the case, then we would train you on syringe feeding and how to properly stimulate a kitten. Syringe feeding is for kittens that are primarily 500 grams, so roughly 5 weeks and under. We use a formula called KMR, which is a powdered milk that we mix with water, and we help syringe feed these kittens. The video below, the YouTube video, is a good video to watch to see how syringe feeding is done and stimulating is done. We will, of course, go over any training that is required, and we will have our medical team and our staff members here show you exactly how to syringe feed and how to stimulate properly. After you feed them, stimulating is very important. What it does is it helps them urinate and defecate, as the mother usually does. So it's mimicking the mother and helping. We usually use a gauze with some warm water. Another helpful and informative sheet that you can review at any time is in the Kitten Foster Program Manual that we will email to you after your orientation. The kitten feeding chart is a kitten feeding guideline that uses KMR and the weight of the kittens to decide how much they need to eat and how often they need to eat. When fostering kittens, it is good to be aware that they won't be dependent for long. Once they go through their 2-hour and 4-hour feeding stages, they will eventually learn to eat on their own and use the bathroom on their own. They will become more independent and therefore will need further supervision and will need a room that will help them thrive and grow big and strong. There's so much that you can do to help these kittens become big and strong and to help them thrive, such as learning to use the litter box, how to drink, how to eat, and how to socialize. These are all things that are detrimental to them becoming from a kitten to an adult. It is imperative when fostering any animal to make sure you're using proper sanitation and hygiene. That way you reduce the risk of transmitting any diseases. When fostering, you want to make sure you're washing your hands when you handle any foster animal, and especially if you're fostering multiple animals. You want to make sure you're always washing your hands in between any kind of litter of animals. As well, too, you want to make sure that if you're handling any fecal matter, any vomit, anything like that, you want to make sure you're always cleaning your hands and cleaning the environment right away. Friendly reminder, you want to be cautious of what cleaning supplies you are using when dealing with foster animals. There is some that are highly toxic to the animals, such as Lysol, Pine Sol, 409, Spick and Span. These things you may think are good, but potentially could be hazardous to kittens or small animals. We will also do any laundry that is needed, especially if you have a lot of foster animals that require a lot of blankets or towels, things like that. You're more than welcome to bring it to the facility and we will wash it and we can send you out with new supplies. If you're looking to become a foster parent for cats, we ideally are looking for quiet, calm, and low activity homes, as most of our foster cats here are going into a foster home for behavioral, medical, socialization, palliative, or potentially a shelter vacation. And a lot of times cats can get quite stressed out, so it's always good to have a low activity home that they can readjust from the shelter environment in. If you have other animals in the home currently, we ask that when fostering cats that you please keep them separate. A sanctuary room is always great as they can be put in a separate bedroom, bathroom, den, or office, and they can free roam in there, have all the supplies they need to thrive in the foster home. When the foster cat goes home with you, it's usually good to give them a little space, whether that's a few hours or a night, just to adjust and settle in before you attempt to go in and spend time with them or handle them too much. Once they've got used to the home, it's good to go in, gradually introduce yourself to them and allow them to get comfortable with you, and anyone else in the home as well is always good. You just want to take in consideration that they may have anxiety, trust issues, they may have different obstacles. Such as if they're overweight, it's a little harder for them to be picked up or jump up on couches or furniture, things like that. So you just want to be considerate of whatever they may have, especially too if you're taking an animal home that may have one eye or missing a limb. These are things that may be barriers for them, so it's always good to set your sanctuary room up for them to thrive. We ask that when fostering any cat to please only feed the food that is instructed upon picking them up for fostering, as well as any medication. You only want to provide the medication given to you by our medical team at the Humane Society of Durham Region. Don't forget to provide things such as fresh water daily, monitor their appetite, their water consumption, alert us if there's any concerns going on, as we definitely want to make sure that they're doing okay and there are no concerns. Your foster cat requires interaction and socialization time every place. Please make sure you spend time giving this attention daily. Some cats may be sensitive in certain areas or just like a lot of handling. Some common sensitive areas include the back, the abdomen, or paws. Cats generally enjoy having their cheeks, neck, and head pet, so I would start off with that and then work out and see what they like from there. And some cats do enjoy grooming as well, but just be considerate that some of them may not, or they may get overstimulated quite easily when you brush them too long. We can supply anything you need for this as well, and be considerate of any cat's medical, behavioral, or physical conditions. Medical signs to watch for when fostering is runny discharge from the eyes or nose, lack of appetite, lethargicness, diarrhea, vomiting, weight loss, coughing, or sneezing. There may be other concerns medically or behaviorally as well. Please notify the foster department right away. If you're interested in becoming a dog foster parent with the Humane Society of Durham Region, we always like to know about any prior experience with dogs, as sometimes they can be a little bit more to handle and require a little bit more attention than cats, depending on, of course, the dog you take into foster. Being a dog foster parent, you may end up fostering a dog that has a behavioral issue, a medical concern, or multiple medical concerns, a dog suffering from shelter stress and it needs to go into a calm environment to decompress from the shelter environment, a pregnant mom, litters of puppies. It really depends. We'd always let you know, of course, what we have available here to foster at the time. Dogs with behavioral issues, though, we don't usually send as much into foster. It really depends on your level of experience, the training you have, and if we need a foster home for that animal. When fostering any of our foster dogs, we please ask to abide by the following rules. So for general care, no off-leash park visits during the fostering period. Foster dogs must be on a leash at all times when outdoors unless in a fully secured fenced yard. Please only give your dog the food and or medication that has been prescribed by us and our veterinarian. Always provide positive reinforcement with foster dogs. Veterinarian appointments. So all vet visits are booked through our foster department or are booked with our shelter agents at the front desk. Foster parents must respond within 24 hours to communication from the foster department and or shelter staff. And we do ask that if you are going to be late or not able to make an appointment, please try to give us as much notice as possible. We do usually require 48 hours notice of cancellation of any appointments, as we are a very busy clinic here and have a lot of animals in our facility. Communication is key when fostering, especially when fostering dogs. You want to make sure you contact us if you notice any aggressive behavior. It should be communicated right away so nothing escalates to being anything further. As well, if you lose possession of the dog, let us know immediately. If the dog bites someone or it scratches and it breaks the skin, please let us know right away, as they do have to go under a 10-day bite or scratch quarantine with the Health Department of Durham Region. Dog cleaning instructions are a lot like cleaning instructions for kittens or cats or small mammals. You want to make sure you're picking up any feces, especially infected feces, right away, preferably with gloves, whether that's in your backyard or outside when you're on a walk. You don't want another animal digesting that fecal and getting sick themselves. As well, too, you want to dispose of it in a plastic bag. Clean the area with a common soap or scrub brush as well and allow it to dry. Like we mentioned before, we do provide a pet-friendly cleaning product that you can take home with you, especially if the animal does defecate or urinate on your furniture or floors. On this slide, we have a lovely fecal scoring chart that is from Purina. It is our fecal scoring system that we use here in the shelter. We use it every single day. It helps us track the fecal levels based on each animal. So it goes from a score from 1 to a score to 7. So a score of 1 is a very hard, usually constipated kind of poop. Score 7 is usually more diarrhea, so mucus, may have potential blood in there. These are concerning poops. A good poop level is a score of 3 or a score of 4 when it's fostering an animal. The fecal scoring chart makes it a whole lot easier for us to know exactly what's going on with your foster animal by you just explaining if they're having a level 3, a level 6, a level 1. It just helps us fully understand what's going on with the fecal, with the animal. As you know, being in a shelter environment, we are exposed to different common shelter illnesses. Some of these illnesses are known as calicivirus, upper respiratory infections, so URIs, ear mites, intestinal parasites such as coccidia, giardia, or hookworm, fleas, diarrhea. The list goes on, as we do have exposure to so many different animals that we can definitely have different levels of diseases and infections come through our facility at any given time. If you ever come across a foster emergency, we ask that these 6 emergencies please be noted to us right away: excessive bleeding, severe lethargicness, broken bones, sudden collapse, difficulty breathing, and unresponsive. These are very, very serious, and we would like for you to contact us either by phone or email right away. We will send you home with a foster emergency sheet, which is on the slide next, which will explain to you who to contact and where to go if a foster emergency arises during fostering. We have 2 different clinics listed: Toronto Veterinary Emergency Hospital or the Animal Emergency Clinic of Durham, which you can go to, whichever one is closer for you, if it's an after hours emergency. You just want to send our shelter manager, Danielle Johnson, an email as well. Just keeping her in the loop would be greatly appreciated. When you go to the emergency clinic, either or, what you do is explain that you're a foster parent with said foster animal, and they will actually invoice us for the appointment, so you don't have to worry about covering that cost. You just have to worry about getting the animal there and getting the treatment they need. If you can please just make sure to try and contact Danielle Johnson, our shelter manager, with the email provided before you go to the clinic if you're able to, just so she has a heads up of what's going on and she will be able to give you direction on what to do going next with the animal. Is always greatly appreciated, as we like to know what's going on and we can kind of help and assist and give you the direction you need. But if there is no response right away, or if you need to go right at that very moment, please head right to the clinic that is closest to you, whether it's TVEH or the Animal Emergency Clinic of Durham. If the emergency or concern is during shelter hours, which are listed on our website, as well as we will send them home with you on our foster emergency sheet, please call the shelter right away or just come directly into the shelter, whether that's the front door or the west side door. Bring the animal in and please explain all of what has happened during the emergency. Please know that when fostering, no question is too small or too silly to ask. We are here to answer any questions or concerns you may have. We want to make sure the animals thrive, so please feel free to call us or email us at any time, even multiple times a day if needed. Lastly, here, just ending the foster slideshow, we ask for you to lead with your head, not your heart. The reason for this is when you're fostering an animal, it's very easy to get attached and to not allow them to come back in the shelter, or make it harder on yourself and the animal to come back in the shelter. We understand that it is very hard to let go of them, but we ask, if you're not going to adopt them, to please allow them to come back so that they can find their forever home. It's best to think of it as a way situation where he or she will be decompressing from the shelter environment and undergoing whatever they need medically, socially, or behaviorally in the foster home for that set period of time. Once they've completed what is needed, they come back in and are adopted out to their forever home. This can be a difficult notion for some people to accept, but it is the most crucial part of fostering. It's essential that you maintain an emotional distance between you and the animal and be neutral in your attitude and approach. This way you prevent the animal from developing attachments, expectations, and habits that make it harder for him or her to find their forever home. Like all of our wonderful volunteers, you're a caring person who wants to help an animal in need. We completely understand this, so please believe us. The most compassionate thing you can do as a foster parent is to keep your emotions out of the equation, of course, as much as possible, and allow your animal the chance to succeed. We do have other roles here available for volunteers if you're interested, such as fundraising and event assistant, FSI adoption volunteers, volunteer drivers, and shelter volunteers, which would mean you are either a cat enrichment volunteer or a dog enrichment volunteer. If you decide you want to become a volunteer with one of these different volunteer opportunities we have available, we ask that all volunteer or potential volunteers go to our website, www.hsdr.org, to access our volunteer application and to see what volunteer opportunities we currently have available to apply for. This is the end of the foster orientation. Thank you so much for listening and going through it with me. I hope you have learned some valuable information and you can reflect upon this at any time when fostering. If you have any questions at all, you can please contact myself by emailing or calling in the facility and we can answer anything you may have. Thank you so much. I look forward to meeting you and for you to join our team here at the Humane Society of Durham Region.